I'd like to welcome you all to the Adelaide Microsoft IT Pro Community April 2026 Meetup. Above the slide this time. Yes. Again, as before, it's your first time here. I'm Andrew O'Young, AI workforce or modern work and security lead at a company called Motion. I'm also a Microsoft MVP in security and M365. You can generally find me on LinkedIn as the most active platform at the moment. And
hi everyone, I'm Shahan. I'm also an MVP in security, Intune, and identity and access management is my specialty. I'm a architect at Bastion Technology Services in the same criteria, identity and modern device management. And that's my blog, emsroute.com. You can find me in LinkedIn, where I usually post myself, and also in X as well. Thank you.
Quick thanks to our sponsors, Microsoft for providing the venue, Brett for keeping our meetup group afloat, I guess, and for ourselves being present and providing refreshments, and our respective companies for giving us the time to be here. I hope you all had a great Easter, or at least some time off over the long weekend. Still a lot of announcements dropping over the weekend. That's a very large lens. That's like Easter. So we'll start with the what's new, what's coming. We'll try to keep it, well, there's a lot of stuff to get through, so we'll try not to take too long, but I get to be lined up afterwards. But we'll go, quick reminder, if you didn't realize there's a new license coming out. We did talk about this last month, but next month onwards, you will see a new Microsoft 365 E7 license type, which is essentially your E5 license with Entra Suite, the actual Copilot license in there, and something called the Agent 365, which is that new control plane for managing agents that are created within the Copilot, Copilot Studio, and Azure Foundry, or Microsoft Foundry. But if you missed it, there is a Ask Microsoft Anything on YouTube or wherever they may have posted it, just around Agent 365. So all of the various questions being answered by Microsoft there. And sort of spotted this one the other day. It will also include multi-tenant management. So if you are from an MSP or other provider and you have multiple environments that you're looking after that have agents, you can manage them all from a single pane of glass. Yeah, there's a lot of these. So Copilot itself, so I think we're talking M365 Copilot chat here. So there is a new video recap feature. So if you say in your chat, give me a recap of / this meeting that happened, it will generate a new short video with audio in it, doing a recap of that meeting. So it's like a recap of a recap.
That's scary.
So it's like a voice talking over everything, and it shows you the highlights essentially of that meeting. So cool feature. After suss it out, I did see it appear. I just never clicked on the video to see what it actually did. So I'll have to check that one next time. Researcher agents. Now this one has got a couple of new updates to it. So there's a new output format. So you get a fancy infographic as part of your report now. I did see this one the other day. Yes, I'd share this one with you. Yeah, it saves you creating an infographic separately. It's also nice to see that versus a 20-page report that it outputs usually. The other big news in Researcher is that it is now multi-model as well. So in this screenshot here, you can see that you've got both GPT and Claude working together. So in this case, GPT creates the response, and then Claude comes in and reviews it, gives you any suggestions. But yeah, it's one after another. It's critiquing rather what GPT outputs. And the alternative to that is the model council you can see there. So that is having them run side by side. So it's like having a second opinion. So you can get both results, and then yourself, you can choose which one you want to go with, or you can combine the results there. But it's just, new ways to play with the researcher agent there. For those with enterprise or corporate licensing, the M365 Copilot app, you can now brand with your company logo so that you're in the right context there. You are working within your work. It's still at the top there, the work tab, which may or may not disappear in the future. I think they're going to try and move the work into the chat bit. So yeah, it might be a bit confusing, but at least if you've got the company logo, you're in the right space, when you start asking questions about sensitive topics, perhaps. The Copilot notebooks have a bit of a UI or UX refresh. The resources on the left, your chart on the right, but there's a really big section in the middle for your recaps, your pages, and so on. And you can't, I don't believe you can change it. So some people have expressed it this day that there's new appearance. I've not really gone in there since they made the change, but I think it's more focusing on the content rather than what you're trying to do there on the left and right. As part of that, you also got those audio recaps you can generate with your notebooks, now in 7 more languages. So if any of those interest you, you can now create those recaps and share them in a specific language. Work key concept. So Copilot in Excel is, this one's an interesting one where when you call up Copilot, when you're working on a spreadsheet workbook, it will look through your other documents and find all the relevant information. So if you've got a PDF and another workbook with similar content, it's going to bring them into that conversation so that when it generates or analyzes the data, it's got more information to work with. So that's all powered by WorkIQ, or the latest in terms of semantic indexing with Copilot. And our friend Copilot in PowerPoint, always lacking, but there are leaps and bounds every now and then. So this is one where you can now standardize the font or the formatting of font in the entire deck. So in the chat, you say, hey, use Times Roman, size, whatever, and it's going to go through the entire deck and ensure all text is that font. I think in the suggestions there, it says, it can adjust the spacing between lines and so on as well. So in the right direction. Challenges slide. And on the 365 side of things, I skipped the slide altogether. But last session we talked about M365 backup and archive, and we did tease that file level archiving was coming. So it's now in public preview. That was an animated GIF, but it's not animated. So instead of archiving the entire site, you can now select files individually, and through the menu there, you can go archive, and it's sent it off to the archival storage. The main differences in this is that it's, I guess, the restore period, how quickly you can get it back, and I guess the storage costs. So if you're using M365 Archive, yes, it's slightly cheaper, but it might take more time to restore it out of archive. E-signatures for M365. If you've ever used Adobe Acrobat or PDF, you got the option to sign with a stylus or take a photo. We're getting that for M365, except it's at a price. So it's a page service, and at the time being, it is a free trial of up to 5 per month through to June. So I don't know how many people are going to use that if you're paying for it per signature. So we'll see how that goes.
Just a legal key, I guess.
Perhaps, or then just use third party, like DocuSign maybe. If you're already paying that much, right? Sensitivity labels in OneNote now generally available, and that is across Windows, web, Mac OS, Android, and iOS, iPad OS. So you can access and apply all those sensitivity labels that are being pushed out in your organization. 40 years of Exchange. Emails have been around. I think not sure to treat that long. That's where I started touching Exchange. First, 2003, 2007 version. But I think at the advent of Office 365 is where I really started playing Exchange. So it's come a bit of a way. And one of the latest features is high volume email. So this is for when you're doing bulk email sending. So with a nice price of 42 US, you get 1 million recipients. And there's a new SMTP relay address. So there's I think it's just HPE mixed into the domain name there, but it's still over 587. And then, we had the SharePoint 25th anniversary last month, and the hackathon winners were announced. That's on YouTube. I'll give you the links to this afterwards. You can go and review that in your own time. There's several categories there. A lot of cool innovations with AI and SharePoint. I'll try and get through this quickly. Teams is getting a whole bunch of new quality of life improvements. So In the bottom left there, you can now get a notification and you can easily switch between organizations. So someone mentions you in a different organization, it pops up and says, you've got this chat here, you can click that, it opens up that chat in a separate window without switching your context. So you can just close that window afterwards, you're still in your primary organization. But otherwise, it looks like you can hidden the other organizations on the left-hand side, so you can quickly switch between them without doing the drop-down, selecting your different username and then selecting whichever gets the account.
Oh, that's good.
So really, really handy, that one. Talk long now.
Yeah.
There's a new draft view, so this helps for when you start writing a conversation and you forget, you get distracted, and you go off and do something else, and you come back and you go, oh yes, I forgot to send this. And now you can see where all of them are when you started the conversation and you've forgotten. So definitely quality of life one there. Live meeting indicator, that's pretty straightforward. You've got a pretty looking logo now. For those administering teams, or specifically external collaboration, the admin center is getting a bit of a facelift. So now you can, there's preset configurations. It cycles back to it. So when you change it out of that mode, you can see that there's being open, control, and custom. So being able to select those and then fine tuning what kind of level of access you want your external guest users to have in your teams. I think a lot of providers are going to love that one. There's a new image viewer. Don't know if we've got this one yet, but the original clips is on the right. The left is what we're getting. So it pops up a gallery view of the photos or the images, and then you can browse through the library of different images that have been shared in the past. So this is small things, right? Controlling what the enter key does. So you're really excited. You press enter, you send the message, and you've only sent like half a message. You now set it personally to not do that. It starts a new line. So instead of holding shift and pressing enter, you can now press enter and have a whole bunch of paragraphs and then click the send button. It's slightly better. I mean, there is the format button where you click that and it opens up, and it's always new line mode. But some people might prefer this over the defaults. And this is a handy one. Shift escape is a hotkey that marks everything as red. Oh. So if you really hate those little red markers, you just go and you get nothing to see there. And lastly, finally, we can share files and loop components with external one-on-one chats. Okay. So I don't know why it took so long, but we can now just drag files into the chat, share it out via like a OneDrive sharing link, at the same time with loop components. So yeah, really handy.
That's good.
This slide should have been before, but on the Copilot control side of things, Purview is the compliance and data security piece. They're extending the data loss prevention into when you do web searches using Copilot. So new policies, or rather, you let it detect simulation mode, and it tells you whether people are using sensitive or looking up sensitive content in their web searches, and you can just create a policy from the Purview admin center there. And at the same time, they're also doing detections when you're using prompts. So it's going to detect any sensitive information or sensitive information types being referenced in a conversation. And it just says, can't do that. Authoritative sources. So this is the inverse of doing restricted SharePoint searching. So instead of saying which sites you are allowed to see, this is saying which sites are actually legitimate information that your Copilot or your agents can access. All right. There is a feature inside Copilot Studio where you add a knowledge source and you say this is authoritative. This is setting the entire site as authoritative as opposed to just a single document. The flip side, you can also block external domains. So if you don't want AI or Copilot getting information from a specific website, in case it could be the wrong information, or maybe this site is known to poison your search results, maybe you can do that as well. So rolling out this one. And for those managing adoption and rolling out pilot use cases, there's high usage users. This is more particularly around Copilot credits. So you can get a view of who's using a whole lot of credits or burning your allowance. So then you get an idea of how do I need to rebalance my credits and who needs more licensing. So and on top of that, you got get better satisfaction tracking, intent and usage. So if you're using Copilot Dashboard or Viva Insights, you've got even more telemetry now to work with as part of getting people onboarded or figuring out whether the right people have the right licensing and credits and so on. I don't want to spend too much on here, but Windows are getting a whole bunch of updates as well. Auto patch is out. Hot patching is coming for Intune on devices starting from May. Hot patching being where you install Windows updates without needing to necessarily restart your device. And then we've got remote server administration tools are now supported on ARM devices running Windows 11, which is probably music to some IT admins' ears. And then a couple of quality of life things within the security and optional updates from last month. So I think quick machine recovery is maybe one of the longly sought after ones there for unmanaged professional devices as well. Skipping along, Entra external MFA is now generally available, so it's bringing your own or third-party multi-factor authentication solution and sticking into a conditional access policy. So on the left here, you set up the details. There's obviously going to be an app registration ID that you stick on it. And then when that's set up, the next time you go to sign in, you get an extra option here to then use a third-party authenticator to log in with. So that can be on top of the other authentication methods you may already have.
The backup. Last time.
I don't remember.
Probably online. I think you have a screenshot. I can probably add a line if you want.
I didn't have one, but if you want to talk about
it. Yeah. So Entra ID got a preview update recently. So it's basically Entra ID backup and recovery. So I think finally now in Entra. So if you use any third party or JSON file, something like that, now it's available within the Entra portal itself. It's still in preview, but usually it does back up your the Entra configuration every day. So it keeps 5 backups as well. So the good thing is even the global administrator can't do any changes to the backups. So say if the portal is hacked or for some reason, the bad actors can't do anything for the backups as well. So it's basically Microsoft managed at this stage and probably going forward as well. So it will back up your users groups, conditional access policies, authentication methods, user authentication methods, and some other objects as well. And there is a difference report that you can see where it checks for the changes done in the last backup, and it will restore if you want to. So that's a good feature finally in Entra. Probably will get more updates going forward as well because now with the preview. And the other one is the passkeys. So if you're using the FIDO2 passkeys right now, they recently announced the synced passkeys, where you can use your the Apple the Android password manager as well as the Apple keychain. So you can save your passkeys now there rather than just using a FIDO2 key for everything. So still recommended to use the FIDO2 like a physical key for your most critical accounts like global administrator, security administrator, and so on. But for users, rather than users keeping a device, another device, they can use their mobile phone synced. And the good thing is, say if you're using a different, like an iPad, an iPhone connected to the same iCloud account, you can sync those the passkeys as well. So that's a good thing when it comes to the passkeys, synced passkeys. It was on public preview, but now it's in general availability right now. Cool. So yeah, so this is basically one thing which I've in Defender recently, recent update, the password protection for Entra ID. If you have the hybrid setup, that's basically the local ID, and currently Okta is supported as well. So there's like a dashboard. It's saying the password hygiene, the password policies, any leaked credentials, and any exposed passwords in your organization that will be visible in this password protection under the identities in the Defender portal. So of course you need to have Defender for identity enabled in order to get the on-premises password information ported into the Defender. And of course, yes, if you have like a third-party product like IDP, like Okta, you can get those information in the same pane as well. So right now, only Okta is supported. Most probably, more IDPs will be supported in the future. So you should have a Defender for Identity or like your E5 enabled in your organization in order to get this feature up and running. And also at least the security reader permissions should be required to get this service as well.
Bunch of stuff coming out in Intune as well. There's more timely notifications. So on the device now, the Windows notification service is leveraging the same notification protocol that Microsoft Teams. Quickly that pops up and gives you a notification. So they're going to use that same technology. So firstly, they're going to use it with the remote help for Windows. That's just to ensure that if someone is coming in to provide you remote assistance, you actually see the messages and you don't delay the help that's getting bounced your way. So I assume other things will start using that protocol as well. So you'll at least see important messages much more quickly now. In terms of this one, we're talking about the scope tags. So you could assign different admins access to your fleet of devices. And before it was, if you provided tagging, they'd still get aggregate access or permissions to those devices. So some people were getting too much access to devices that they need to manage. So what they've done is they've kind of split it out so that the scopes are now discrete, so that prevents any of that privilege creep. So they're only managing the devices they're assigned to manage. At the same time, there's a permissions assessment report, which gives a preview of what happens if we turn on or unionize these scope tags, what breaks for the admins if we do turn it on. Cool. Manage installer policy during autopilot, so out of the box experience there. It's essentially making it so all the apps that are being installed, they're trusted earlier, so we're not taking even more time to set up these devices, and the application is generally one of the longest parts of a new device being set up. So that's nice. You were really excited about.
Yeah, so finally, I think just yesterday, Microsoft had dropped the security baseline via Intune. That's for the 25H2, that's Windows 11. So all this time it was Windows 11 24H2. So of course, the new features that's compatible with Windows 11 is now in Intune as well. So if you have a security baseline activated for a version of Windows, so you can upgrade it to the latest version. Of course, there's upgrade path and also a testing path as well, rather than just upgrading it to all the devices. Create a test unit for a couple of US and test, because there can be new features that can block your environment and the applications and stuff like that. So, but yeah, it's a good thing. So they are pretty much getting in line with the whole Windows 11 operating system versions. So that's available in Intune right now.
26H1, that's what.
20, no, it's 24H2 and 25H2.
But in terms of actual Windows operating systems, is 26H1
yes
soon?
Yes, yeah. So yeah, soon after this one. Yeah.
We've touched on update. Auto patching generally available. And it's also expanded Apple device and app management. So there's proactive declarative device management protocol for line of business apps. So that is, instead of waiting for the device to eventually check in and say, oh, yes, this is installed, it now just goes, yes, it's installed straight away. So there's less downtime when you're setting up those Apple devices. And finally, admins can set the recovery OS password on Mac OS devices. So, switching gears to Purview, there's an updated version of the Exchange Priority Cleanup. So this is what you use when you need to find certain emails that need to be deleted, particularly dangerous, malicious, phishing emails that someone may receive. You want to be able to search for them all and remove them before anyone else accidentally, inadvertently clicks through and puts their credentials in and so on. So nice quality of life stuff there. Also better approval workflow. Microsoft Sentinel, the security incident events management platform. There's a new migration experience, so that's migrating from other seams into Sentinel. And there's a whole bunch of new connectors, and there's an estimation tool coming out. You may have noticed there's a new logo as well. I'm going to explain the different fonts. We've moved my shield to a on the feels better. Something that is reminiscent of a 90s S. So
Sega
is the essence of Sentinel. Anyway, security copilot. I think at the start of the year or towards end of last year, Microsoft announced that they were going to roll in security copilot into E5 licensing. Finally, we're messaging in the message center saying rollout will be between April 20th and June 30th. So you will receive notification that your tenant will receive the benefits of security copilot, or they create the secure units for you. Timelines, Sentinel migration that's been extended to next March, and a couple of on-prem servers. Make sure you've moved on to the next version or moved to the cloud. So I'm going to quickly flip through this security training. I'll share the links afterwards if you're taking photos. This is probably a bit more interesting. So last time we talked about new certifications coming out, old ones retiring. There's a whole bunch coming out in this current quarter. The ones on the left, far left there in March, they're already out in beta. If you manage to get one of the beta codes to do the exam, that should have already happened before this weekend passed. Whoops. Some of the naming conventions that they've gone through, they've renamed essentially Azure to Cloud and AI, and there's a bunch that just getting refreshed, I guess. And just last week, we saw another announcement. Hey, there's more certifications coming. And yeah, so effectively, they're retiring a whole bunch of Power Plat and Dynamics certs there. Annoyingly, the MB280, which is only been a year old. I think I got that one last year or the year before. That's getting replaced. That's AB210. And I think the previous session we said there was speculation of a Copilot Studio one being AB610. That's come out as 410. That is your replacement for the functional consultant. So can't wait till we have to get a whole bunch of people on that one.
Right, okay. No more fun.
Yeah, and the solutions architect going away.
Oh, yes.
I think the AB100, the agentic solutions architect, will be the one that owns all of that that level. Yeah, I think skip that. And there's a new AI skills navigator. Personally, I haven't looked at it myself, but you go to the website and you can build your learning paths. You can suggest for your team, hey, you should do this. I think it's just evolving the whole Microsoft learning path sharing experience. I'll include this because why not? Agent Academy, if you haven't seen, there is a kind of a course on Copilot Studio, ranging from intro to moderate to expert. The third one isn't out yet. They decided to drop a whole bunch of adjacent topics there. So anything to do with MCP, YAML, so on. Yeah, Bits is getting a bit of a workout with his photo shoots there. But yeah, check out that website if you're interested in learning. Student ambassadors, I don't know how many students there are here, but Microsoft does have a program for students in the Microsoft space. Reach out to a person. Michelle Sanford runs the student accelerators around Australia, New Zealand. And some of the other user groups that we have in Adelaide, they've got the Azure user group happening later this afternoon. But yeah, check them out. They're generally all on Meetup. And events that are coming up. There is a whole bunch of stuff. Some of those happening interstate, particularly the AI tools and all that. That's in Sydney. There's the Workplace Conference in Melbourne. Some online events, builds in San Fran. More on the Workplace Conference. I did submit, and I will be presenting at that event next month. Details are there. So yeah, end of May essentially. And yeah, Daniel Brown also will be presenting at that one. We've got him coming next month to present. But yeah, there is a QR code there. If you are interested, we've got a competition running for winning a 2-day conference pass to the Digital Workplace Conference. You must be in person next month to receive the prize. Staring at the person who should be. Yeah. So there's just the conference pass itself. We don't cover flights, a com or whatever. You find your own way across. You stay wherever you stay, but in terms of the conference itself, you will get free entry to the conference. And for us, yes, Dan's coming next month. Call for speakers, please, if you want to present on anything, all the things, where applicable, let us know. We do have a few speakers lined up that we just need to confirm, but yeah, let us know if there's anything you want to hear about either as well. So that form doubles up as a topic. Podcast is back. I think we mentioned this last month, but some slight changes. You know, I mean, these are the lads here. There's a QR code to LinkedIn. Sad announcements that Shahan has stepped down from being a co-host at the podcast. We've got Matthew Clark stepping in. You may remember him from previous sessions here. But yeah, check us out on your favorite podcast platforms, Spotify, YouTube, Apple, etc. Discord server. There's an SA IT Connect community server as well. It's run by Matt. But if you're in the IT space in SA, have a look at that. It's particularly students, workers, and job seekers, and a lot are joining the server and sharing their. Oops, bring that back up for a sec. All right, cool. And yeah, that went over by 2 minutes. So here is our guest speaker for today, Andrew Lee. All the good stuff.
Thank you very much. Hopefully the people online can hear me. I'll try to speak up a little bit, but I do have a bit of a sore throat today. Greetings. Thanks for having me back. I'm Andrew Lee. I'm a solutions architect at a company called Infomotion, specialised in Power Platform, Dynamics 365. I'm also a Microsoft MVP and a fast track recognised solution architect. So with that, I want to walk you through all the good stuff with Wave 1 2026. Who's using Power Platform or Dynamics 365 today in their current role? Oh, okay, yep, you guys, yep, fantastic, love it. And the people online, Sky, of course. All right, fantastic. So I've got a lot to cover today. So I'll be like drinking with, through a fire hose. So let's see how we go. If there's anything that you want me to focus on, don't be shy, please call out. But I'm going to cover, everything on the Power Platform. So it's Power Apps, Power Pages, Power Automate, Dataverse, Copilot Studio, and then the D365 stack, sales, field service, and customer insights journeys. I did hear a conversation earlier in the hallway. Someone might be using Eventbrite or thereabouts. So there might be some segues in that. But anyway, this is stuff that's either in public preview coming out now, today, April, through to September 2026. Okay, so let's just get straight into it. And starting with Power Apps. So Microsoft have done a great job in unifying all the search capabilities inside Power Apps and Dynamics 365. What you've probably seen in the past is what's known as the legacy search that did not support things like fuzzy matching. So for instance, here, I've got an example where I've misspelled government and it's actually used fuzzy matching to correct that. It also does hit highlighting. It is also faster performance, and it does promote more consistent searches through all your screens. So legacy is going away, being replaced with Dataverse search. I think the the benefits of that are pretty obvious. Next, I want to talk about generative pages. This is something that's been in public preview for probably close to a year now. But this is really an AI first approach to building applications within model-driven apps. And also you can bring your own code. So if you use Claude Code to build single page applications or Lovable or pick your favorite tool, you can import that directly into model-driven apps. Hopefully I've got time for this. I'm going to see if this works, but I'm going to give you a quick demo, something I put together yesterday. So for instance here, I'm in my model-driven app. It's a fitness application. I'm going to go ahead and describe the sort of page that I want designed. I'll say create a page that shows all of the membership applications with filters for the type of membership that I have. From there on, I can then choose my data source. Because I've already created the table within Dataverse, I'm going to select the table I just created before, which is membership applications. And then I'm going to ask it to generate that page for me. So remember, this is still in public preview. So if it doesn't work the first time around, you can sort of prompt it, and I'll give you an example of that. But you can see here it's actually generating a single page application for you in the background, right? So I'm going to switch over to preview mode, and you can see I've got my membership application. It's done pretty much what I've asked it to do. So the only thing it's missed out on was it didn't include the filters at the top. So I can actually go have a conversation through the chat dialog on the left-hand side, and I can say, add a filter for membership type. So even though I specified it before, it's just left that out. So I'm going to go ahead and prompt it and tell it where to put it, which is at the top of the screen. So now it's going to go ahead, it's going to regenerate that code. It's going to hopefully then add it. So you can see I've got my filters at the top now. And they're all wired to data within the Dataverse. So it is Dataverse aware. So it does respect all of the things that it won't go ahead and create new tables, for instance, right? Would you reuse what you wanted? So pretty much that's generative pages. I can then go ahead and save this to my model-driven app. I'll give you another example of another generative page that I've used, created a little bit earlier. It's more of a data entry form. So you can see you're not really limited by the form factor or the type of page that you can render. Or I'm going to go ahead and see that one that I just created there. And you can see it's working within the model-driven app. So really, this is part of the future for Power Apps and model-driven, okay? It's not all the way into the future because as we sort of forecast what it will look like in 24 months' time, it's going to get much, much better than this as well, right? So that's a little bit about generative pages. It's been a long time coming. It is currently available in our region in Australia. Next, I want to talk about another really cool feature that you may have seen in the past as well. When you open up a record within Dataverse, you can see this AI summary that appears on top. And basically, it's exactly that. It's a summary of what you see on the form itself. There was a few limitations around this in that it actually created like a little field within your system. It's actually another table. And it was actually storing a lot of the output inside those fields. That really wasn't in compliance of, GovCloud. Because basically you could be exposing information at the record summary level. They've changed that, so it allows summaries to be secured to specific roles. So only specific administrators or certain business groups can actually see the summaries. That makes it more compliant. And also for the very first time, you can also see the summaries just by hovering over a record within the grid view. So basically you don't need to dive into the form to actually see the AI summary. That's actually pretty cool too. So some enhancements around that. That's going to be in GA in June. Next is just around the PPAC, so Power Platform Administration Center. There's a new section for usage, and this actually just shows you adoption metrics across the entire Power Platform. So be it Power Apps, usage, Power Automate, flows by the number of flows that I run, Copilot Studio, so how many agent sessions have been run in the last month, for instance, and it gives you all that metric in a nice to use one-stop shop. Okay, so that was sort of highlights around Power Apps. There's actually a lot more to that than that, but I want to move on to Power Pages. Who here has actually deployed a Power Page website? No. So the experience is actually pretty cool with Power Pages because it's actually like a low-code application. You can build websites really quickly, just as easy as you can build Power Apps. You can build B2B, B2C sort of scenarios using Power Pages. But one of the things that they've added is the ability to then go ahead and pull telemetry data from Power Pages. So I can actually export how many people have actually hit my site up, form interaction, session details, and detailed logs for debugging, right? There's just a nice little welcome change to Power Pages and just ups the maturity level of that a bit. Next, we have the ability to lock down which identity providers you use on Power Pages. Say, for instance, I'm an IT manager. I look after a number of business units who are each building their own Power Pages websites. I may say, I'm going to allow Azure Active Directory as my primary mechanism for identifying clients. But for certain websites, I'm going to allow Facebook or LinkedIn or Google authentication, right? I can lock it down for the entire tenant, and I can lock it down for specific sites now as well. So it gives you more granular configuration for each of your sites and how you manage identities. So that's pretty cool. I don't know, I've covered this last time, but this one allows you to use the command line console, the command line interface to rip down a site and also pull a site up. So create and delete sites. I could do that through one single line of code as well. So the advantage of that is if you're using, development teams can introduce that in as part of their ALM process. So we can quickly, migrate sites and delete them, that sort of stuff. So that's in preview April. I think that was actually a preview last year, but anyway. This is a big change as well. Server-side JavaScript is now going GA. So what does this allow you to do? You can go ahead and define server-side logic. And here I've got an example. It's a bit hard to see here, but I've got 3 functions to capture an order, to create an order, to do a credit check against someone, whatever. I've actually created 3 server-side logic functions in there. And then when I'm developing Power Pages, I can just call those functions. So all of that complex logic is hidden behind our server, right? So therefore, we don't actually have to do it on client side. Makes the code a lot more secure, but it's also much more manageable, and it's more it's just better development experience, I think. So this is a big change. Next, client APIs. If anyone's actually done any development with websites, invariably what you end up doing is you end up stuffing around with the DOM, the document object model. So basically give me the 154th element on this list or whatever and make a change to that. So do a lot of UI sort of hacks to make things retrieve values, that sort of stuff. The problem is as soon as there's been an update to the website, all your code breaks, right? So it's not supported doing manipulation through the DOM. That's why Microsoft has now provided a client API that helps you manage forms, lists, users. So for instance, sign in, sign out, and then web API calls to other systems. So much better to manage, and it's very well supported by Microsoft. Okay, so this is a pretty cool change. So you can bring your own coding tools to Power Pages, and then you can embed your that code inside Power Pages as single page applications. So think about using Claude Code to actually build a single page application, or in this case, I'm using Lovable, which is next to my favorite app at the moment, to actually build an SPA. I can import that directly into Power Pages and host it within Power Pages, which is pretty cool because then you get all the benefits of the Microsoft stack as well, like the database security, the authentication, and so on. You get a lot more platform awareness. So this is in public preview. This will go into GA in June 2026. There is I'll find a link for it, but there was a really good article online about how you actually go about building your first Claude Code app and importing it. Okay, next is who here is familiar with Bootstrap? Yep, Bootstrap. So Bootstrap originated from Twitter, but it's basically the styling, theming, and branding language of the internet. Most of the websites you go to today use some variation of Bootstrap. And what that helps you do is it manages just the look and feel as well as the behavior of the website. Now, Power Pages was running Bootstrap 3. It is now supporting the latest, which is Bootstrap 5, and that completely gets rid of the jQuery framework. So things should be a lot quicker. The code should be a lot cleaner. A much better grid layout, ditching support for IE 10 and 11 because who uses that anyway? Better naming conventions and so on as well. And plus you get access to site templates, and people actually build some pretty cool Bootstrap themes as well. So you can look like a legend by buying a third-party theme and importing it into your website. For people who are currently running sites, there is a migration tool. You basically can just execute that tool and it'll move you to what's called the enhanced data model, which is the latest version of this. So that's a little bit about Bootstrap 5, and I will move over to Power Automate. So licensing, the licensing story has always been a little bit complex with Power Automate because there's different types of Power Automate licensing. Who here knows what they all are? You got per user licenses. Yeah, you should know. Yeah. Per user licensing, per app licensing, you've got attended RPA, desktop flows, I believe, is a licensing. There's probably a few other ones as well that I'm not aware of. But the idea is now, under the PPAC, Power Platform Admin Center, it's all being centralized in one area, and that's the licensing section under Power Automate. And you can see all the sorts of licenses you are using today, as well as who's over cap, who's under license. And it gives you a single place for you to download all of those reports, right? So you can take that up and say, okay, now I need to buy more licenses. You can also see who specifically is actually using the most Power Automate licenses today. So that's good. That's now in GA. So you should see that immediately. If you're using desktop flows, this is an interesting one actually, because desktop flows effectively allow you to run workflows on your local machine or virtual machine, right? So say, for instance, you take over a machine and you develop a flow to open up your accounting package, go to the website, go to realestate.com, download this report, execute this. You can actually design a flow that will run completely on a virtual machine. And so you do end-to-end automation through that way. Now, the problem is if it ever falls over, it's a bit hard to actually debug what's actually happened. So what they're introducing is something called video recording or video logs, and it'll record the last 60 seconds before it actually crashed. So you can replay exactly what that agent was doing on that local machine. And the other cool thing is it uses AI to actually do closed captioning. So I'm going to open up this browser now. I'm going to download this report. So I'll actually tell you what's actually going on too. So hopefully this is going to be a huge help for people who actually build a lot of unattended desktop flows. And that's in preview currently. The other cool thing is if you're actually doing a desktop flow, like a human in the middle workflow, generally what you do is at some point with a human in the loop sort of automation process, you'll reach a point in the automation cycle and then you stop. And then it's going to ask you for input. And in the past, it's actually opened up, like I think it's a Power Automate form. Now, for the first time, they've actually introduced the ability to open up a full app. So actually open up a Power App, and that means you get 100% flexibility in the styling of the app and what it looks like. So you can interrupt the flow, you can open up the app, you can do some data entry. In this case, I've got an app that manages property. For instance, here, I can click on that. I could then send it and resume my workflow. So that's pretty cool. They'll actually take all the outputs of that and actually pull it back into the workflow. That's really good for some integration work. Next, I want to talk about Copilot Studio. So custom MCP servers, model context protocol servers, basically what generative AI uses today, being very much likened to a USB key where you plug in and introduce new capabilities by MCP servers. All the rage at the moment has now gone GA as of April. So that means it's production ready. You can start to introduce MCP servers as you like. So for instance, if you need to do integration with other systems such as DocuSign, Salesforce, GitHub, name the system, there's probably an MCP server for it. And then what they'll do is they'll introduce new skills for your Copilot agents. So you can say in plain English, when I receive an email, I want you to create an opportunity for me in Salesforce, and it will just figure it all out. All right. So MCP servers are definitely progressing. And so we can then introduce that. We can actually clone some of the first party ones. We can take like a Microsoft MCP server. We can take a clone of it. We can modify it for our own, tailor it for our own business, and then republish that as well. So you now have the extensibility story. So that's really good to see, because that's going to be really important for some of the other things that we'll talk about later on as well. I talked a little bit about desktop flows. There is a new type of flow as well, and that's using computer use agents, something that was introduced by OpenAI. But it works very similar to desktop flows, but it's very, let's say it's very vision based, right? Rather than being very prescriptive, I want you to open up a browser window. I want you to go here. You can sort of just explain to it using instructions in plain English what you want it to do, and then it'll go ahead and figure it out. And the other thing is it self-heals as well. So for instance, I'm not recommending this, but if you go ahead and say, I want you to go to realestate.com and I'll pull down all the listings for my suburbs, all right? It could do that even if realestate.com sort of changes their look and feel, right? It can use the vision capability to figure out, oh, that suburb field is moved to the top right. It'll continue. It'll just heal itself, and it will just go, I'll grab that. The other benefit of using computer use agents as well is not just limited to text. So say, for instance, I go to ask it to go to the health emergency department, the SA Health website. There's usually an emergency department dashboard that shows you the waiting list across all the hospitals in South Australia. Now that's a report, it's visual, it's a bar chart, right? It's not text. I can actually ask it to pull down that report, interpret what you see on that chart, and then pull back the relevant data, and then do something else with it. So maybe I'll describe and say, give me the hospital with the lowest waiting times based on this chart over here, and it will do that for you. So quite smart, quite amazing. Yeah, so that's computer use agent. So that is going into GA as we currently speak as well. So hopefully you get a chance to play with that too. Going to help with your automation story at work. Okay. The other thing is, remember paperclip, it looks like you're writing a letter. So this is like, it looks like you want to respond to an email. So Copilot Studio will now start recommending agents for you. And how does it do that? It does it based on memory, right? So it will respect, obviously, your privacy and also the compliance boundaries within your organization. But memory plays a very core part of how it does suggestions. So if it's something that it notices you've been doing quite often, the Monday morning, I'm checking my calendar, that sort of stuff, I'm preparing a report, maybe it might suggest you that agent to build next time you open up Copilot Studio Agent. So it's actually a really good personal productivity tool. And if you're getting a lot of benefit from it, you can then just build that and then share it with other people within your organization, right?
Just a question.
Yes.
The Copilot memory, is that getting stored on the device or on the cloud? Where is that getting stored?
I think that's on the tenants, isn't it?
Is that going to add to my consumption?
No, I don't believe it's metered. I don't think memory is metered that way. Yeah.
The settings of your Copilot app, so you go in and you enable it, and it starts remembering. So it builds on that work IQ, that semantic index layer.
Just hoping it does not create some medicinal, log,
Shouldn't.
hence the log
No.
at the end of the month.
No, I believe that's all, it's all within your existing licensing as well.
Yeah, I think part of the language model as well.
Yeah.
Capabilities of it.
Yeah, correct. I mean, obviously, you're building an agent and it's recommending some certain connectors. You actually pay for Copilot credits, but that's actually just the day-to-day running of the agent. That's not actually memory. Memory is something entirely different. Yeah.
On the second one, when you say an offline process, and
Yeah.
that's why I asked that question, because it says memory, then it says offline process. So I'm just curious, how is that offline then?
You know what? I don't really know the answer to that. I'm not sure why offline is mentioned that way. I don't know what the context around that, so I'll just be honest. But I can actually find out why.
That's what I was wondering, is it using the system memory to do that?
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
worries.
No, it's an interesting discussion in memory as well. I've been reading a lot of articles online, not just Microsoft articles, about what are the best strategies for managing memory, and some other providers actually do memory locally as well.
Yeah.
They do memory on device and that sort of stuff. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see. And obviously there are pros and cons, as performance benefits of doing that way. All I know is Microsoft are not doing it locally though.
We are, right? Only using Microsoft Foundry local, you can have offline apps, offline.
You can have offline apps, but
agents
like,
as well.
yeah, true. Like, yeah, look, I think we need
I can do a session on that.
no, I'd love for you to do deep dive architecture on
NPU-based,
Copilot
agents.
memory.
Yeah.
I'd attend that. Yeah, so there we go. And the other thing is it's proactive, so it'll actually tell you when there's a new suggestion by email as well. Okay, so when you have a lot of agents running inside your environment, each agent may have their own knowledge source. So for instance, you have an agent for customer service versus sales or whatever. You want to actually restrict the knowledge sources to each agent. And this is where file groups come in. So rather than just pointing it to a SharePoint site that has 50,000 files, you can actually define specified file groups. I'm going to say this is file group 1 for customer service. So it's just got our customer service articles in there. And I can have up to 500 files in there. And then conversely, I can do something different for the other agents as well. So it makes our responses a lot more tailored. And so file groups has now gone GA. That's actually been in preview for the last year. Next one is when you're building agents in the past, you've probably pointed it to a SharePoint directory, but you weren't able to point it to a SharePoint list. So now this is going into preview. So being able to go directly to SharePoint list. And so that's going to be a huge improvement, and that's going to go GA very, very soon in May. So we don't have to wait too long for that as well. All right.
The file group itself is just a logical container.
It's just a logical
Inside.
container. That's right. Yeah. Okay, so enhancements around Dataverse. So the ability to restore files no matter how they were removed, whether or not it was removed by a plugin, a workflow, by stupidity, it can always be restored by this new feature. So it's a pretty comprehensive recovery for that as well. You can also configure how long you keep this information for. So you can have up to 30 days of restored. So think of it like a recycle bin. And you've got many ways of actually restoring. So you can actually use code and write a plugin or a PowerShell script to actually do a record restoration. It also allows the ability to do it in bulk and individual records as well. So very, very flexible. They've really, really thought about this. And yeah, it has to obviously be enabled at admin. It won't just automatically roll out to your existing clients or your existing deployments of Dataverse. All right, so that's in preview right now, but it's been pretty good. WorkIQ and Dataverse. So Mr. Young mentioned a little bit about WorkIQ. WorkIQ is the intelligence layer for the Microsoft 365 ecosystem. At the heart of it, memory does play an important role. So, you know, what meetings have I attended? Who do I work with? What files do I access on a pretty often, you know, pretty frequent basis? And obviously, memory changes as you go on through. Your memory will obviously be very dynamic over time. So based on this, it has a pretty good idea, pretty good context, and it can surface much more relevant data. Where Dataverse Intelligence comes in is where is all your corporate information? Where is your sales information, your HR, your finance information? Chances are it probably lives in something like Dynamics or Dataverse or Power Apps, right? Because that's the business application layer. So what Dataverse Intelligence allows you to do is surface that information to WorkIQ so Copilot works more effectively. If you ask a question around, give me my top sales as a sales leader for my region by industry, right? If you ask that of Copilot today and you don't have Dataverse stored, because it's, you know, when you have that Dataverse Intelligence turned on, it can access your sales CRM, pull back that information, include it in your responses in M365 Copilot. So this is going to be really, really important to the whole M365 Copilot story. So that is actually going GA really, really soon because it's been in preview for a while. Next. So, you know, get out of my default environment and get into my prod. So how many people use Power Apps and they see a million applications in the default environment? Everyone has that problem. Now they're being more proactive about how they manage that. It will actually give you a list of very frequently used apps, which it thinks probably shouldn't be in the default environment because of the number of people actually using it. And it'll recommend a separate dedicated environment for you to push it into. So it could do this you know, you click and you basically just say, I'd like to push these workflows, these apps, these reports into a dedicated environment, or it could do it automated as well, right? So that's a welcome change, and that is just gone into preview, and it will be going GA this month as well, right? Okay, so Dataverse and sensitivity labels, if you're using Microsoft Purview, which you should be, to do auto labeling across M365, you can currently, and that has been the case for a while, you can actually register Dataverse as a source of information for sensitivity labeling, right? So if you've got credit card information inside Dataverse and so on, it will automatically just classify that. Now, it hasn't actually included in the citation the classification level in the responses when using Dataverse up until now. And this is what's being introduced at the moment, and it will be going to GA very, very soon. So the citations that come from Dataverse responses will also be labeled as well. So they're going to be really important from a governance perspective. Okay, what's going away? So a whole bunch of stuff that you probably may or may not be aware of, but the OG editable grid, the original editable grid is gone. The Power Apps read-only grid is gone, thank God. Now it's been replaced with a brand new Power Apps grid control that everyone should be using anyway, because it supports editability, group by, filtering, child records, you name it, it supports it. They've done an amazing job on the new Power Apps grid control. Power Automate for Excel add-in is also gone. I don't know many people who installed it in the first place, but anyway, if you're using current version of Excel, there is a native Power Automate tab at the top anyway, so there's no need to be running that add-in. If you're using Microsoft Purview, the audit logs before data changes and after data changes and what it changed to, that information will now not be presented to Purview because that's a compliance risk. So they've taken that out. And also Copilot chat in model-driven apps will be unifying under a new chat system under Power Apps. So you'll see something around that very, very soon. Let me mention Figma. So if you're using Figma to do your prototyping, in the past, you can import that directly into Power Apps. It'll build the app based on your nice little prototype, your paper prototype. That's all gone now as well, which is, I'm a little bit sad about that because I really like using Figma to actually do some whiteboarding and then importing it and building an app straight out of it. But then who really needs to prototype it when you can actually just build the real product using generative apps these days anyway? So while I'm sad about that, this is going to be much, much better system using generative pages and plans, which you saw before. The D365 app for Outlook is also gone. That's Detsky, and that's been replaced with a brand new D365 sales app, which promises to be a lot better. And it works with Salesforce and other sales systems too. So that's what's going away. And I'm going to move over to Dynamics 365 and the main modules around that. So hopefully, guys who are using Dynamics, even if you're not using Dynamics, hopefully you'll see something really cool in here, because there is a lot in here. So if you're using D365 sales today to accelerate sales within your organization, you can actually use something called the Sales Research Agent. So it'll actually go ahead and do some account planning on your behalf. So you define what your account, your research blueprint effectively looks like, and actually can fill in the gaps of information about a particular account or a contact or a company, right? So definitely have a look at the research agent, and that is now in GA too, because that's been in preview for quite some time now. Next, we've got sales qualification agents. This is really good. So if you're getting a lot of leads from like external sources, websites, phone calls, emails, that sort of stuff, you can actually deploy the qualification agent, which will actually match it against your, well, what does your ideal customer look like? And it will actually automatically qualify it. So if we say, I'm only interested in customers who are based in South Australia with employee size between 5 and 500 odd people, that sort of stuff, because that's a perfect client based on what we know, based on our research, and automatically qualify it, provide research notes, and pass that over to sellers. So it's really doing a great job of qualification. And it also gives you a flyout in terms of how it actually, how it's stack ranked, how hot is this lead. So basically it gives you a ranking, how it actually derived that information. Next, you have the ability, and this is really good because I'm working on a multinational organization on the rollout of this as well. And each of the business units and each of the territories have their own sort of unique requirements. Some markets are bigger than others and they do different business as well. So you can actually deploy multiple agents as well, which is going to be really important. And it'll actually just intelligently route. They won't overlap, they won't compete for the same lead. They'll actually figure out what best, which is the lead that's best suited for which particular business unit, and automatically send it that way. So you can define multiple agents. You could not do this before. This is something that's very new to the system. So this will be in preview in May. So I can't wait for this to come out. This is going to be awesome. They can leverage the same knowledge as well, or you can have unique knowledge per agent. So that would be a fantastic update for sales. Now you can actually get it to go a step further and get it to directly engage with customers via AI. So we can actually set up introduction meetings on your behalf through the outreach agent. We can personalize a greeting. So yeah, thanks, and got all that information that you requested. Here it is, using our knowledge base sources. Would you like to set up a time to actually meet in the next couple of weeks? And go ahead and organize all of that on your behalf, right? You can actually specify like the tone, the language, how to want to respond to these people, and our preferences as well through the outreach agent. That's gone into preview right now. It'll be GA in July. Data enrichment. So I don't know if you do data enrichment today. A lot of people use like DMB, LinkedIn, a few other data sources to fill in gaps of information. Now you can do it directly in D365 Sales using the enrichment agent. Okay. Obviously, I won't explain to you all the benefits of it, but it's better to have complete information and up-to-date information, and this is what that provides you. That will be going GA very shortly too. So they've taken the best of contact center, they've embedded it directly in D365 Sales. So that's why you'll see a little phone icon on the right-hand side there. Obviously, you'll get all of the call controls that you're very used to. So hold, mute, transfer, transcribe, all of those sorts of things. You also get sentiment analysis, and basically just it's a seamless integration to D365 Sales. right? So that's going to be really good. I've actually just seen this go live on my environment the other day as well. So that's really good to see. Next, talking a little bit about customer service. And so whenever you take a customer service call and you hang up the call, how do you know you actually, met all of your quality metrics? And this is what the evaluation agent does for you. It'll randomly sample or do a percentage sample, or it will keep sampling until it gets, 100 odd cases. And then it will evaluate it against a set of criteria, which you define to the agent. And it will tell you based on what our standard operating procedure is, how should we handle this complaint. It will actually go ahead and then grade you on how it thinks that you actually perform from a quality perspective. So this is all about improving customer service. That's also going GA too. Nice little one, customer sentiment analysis directly on the case. So based on your prior interactions with a customer, are they angry? Are they peed off at you? You'll see that straight onto the account or the case form. You know about it before you actually email them so that you can tailor your response accordingly. Right. And so that is also going GA too. We've also got shadow mode. That's not actually what the shadow agent looks like. It could be, but I don't know. So basically, while you're on a customer service call with a customer, it's sitting there in the shadow, lurking, saying, we think that this customer is calling about X, Y, Z. We think you should be saying this. We're proposing you update the information on your form to this. We recommend you say, okay, leave me alone, I've got this, all right? But it's actually in there, in the shadow, just trying to make those suggestions. It'll also do an analysis of, what it actually predicted that this person wanted and what the response should have been versus what was actually provided to. So I guess it's really good at comparing and just judging you, basically. So this is really good, and I think that's something that's going to be GA very, very soon. I've not had a chance to play with this yet, but I think this is going to be a huge improvement for a lot of customer service teams. Getting close to the end now. So we've got D365 field service. Kind of left this to last because I really like what they've done with field service. If you're managing lots and lots of teams out on the road doing stuff, you've probably got field service, so you should be considering field service. It's an awesome product. They've really updated the mobile experience. This is something that has been a long time coming. So very simple things like lookup controls. Rather than clicking it, open up this slow loading window. They've got a really nice native look and feel. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. It's very easy to use. Click a lookup, do a search, click a contact, and you're done, right? So really great work from the field service team. And then next, we've got the same thing. The theme keeps continuing with mobile notes. So add a note, you can actually then go ahead, opens up a very native experience. It's like you'd expect it in any iPhone app or Android app to look like this, right? So this is what they've done. They've made it very native look and feel. You can actually then just go ahead and attach pictures. You can take photos, attach them directly, write notes and so on. So really, really good. If you hadn't seen what this looked like before, this is a huge step up. So now it looks like something that's very, very modern. So I love this. This is going GA right now. This is probably the most frequently used control on the mobile app for field technicians or field staff to actually say, I'm on a break or I'm completed my job or I'm moving to my next job. Very simple using this drawer. They call it an opening drawer. So very, very rapid. Just go click, I'm done, I'm moving on. All right, so new booking control. This is also really great as well. If you've got a lookup control currently in Power Apps, when you hover over it, you accidentally click on it, it will actually take you away from this form and into another form. And you go, I didn't want you to do that. I want you to stay on the same form. You can actually disable click through on lookup controls. And because field services implemented this, it's going to be of benefit to all other Power Apps and other Power products as well. So this is going to be really, really good. Massive boost in performance. I think they've done an overhaul on Android. So expect a 25% improvement in performance on there. Something for the schedulers as well. So if you're app-based, managing teams of technicians or people doing stuff, you can bulk optimize schedules for 5 people. So if there's a weather event, I need to ship these 5 people immediately, or I've got an emergency, I could do that. Or I can actually use AI to optimize the schedule for 30 people in one go, basically. I can start to set goals and ways and how do I want to actually distribute my teams and so on, right? So this is a welcome change to the schedule board. And also a minor change, but I think it's helpful. A lot of people don't communicate on pure dates. I'll talk about weeks. So if you're doing like a elevator repair service, I'm going to do a schedule visit on week 2 and then a follow-up visit on week 12 and so on. And people like to talk in weeks and now supports that too. Might sound like minor, but it's just these nice to have things, right? Right, so yeah, here's another example directly from the schedule board. I can right click, I can automatically move that to another shift. I could do it to multiple people at the same time and it'll preserve all the details about that booking, the duration, the details, the resources required on the job and so on. So really, really great stuff from the field service team. And then finally, some people like to visualize it on a map a little bit better. Now supports full screen map view on the schedule board. Before it took up like a quarter of the screen and they sort of expected you to have like a 48-inch monitor or something like that. Now you don't have that problem. You can just maximize the map, right? So that's going to be really, really welcome as well. Okay, I think I'm just going to finish up on one other thing, and that's customer insights journeys. That's the marketing product. So now you can have conversational 2-way SMSs in here. So for instance, I can have a support call. I can do, all sorts, you've all had 2-way SMS conversations before. Now it's finally coming to the Microsoft platform, seamlessly integrated inside Contact Center as well. It does actually, if you use Customer Insights Marketing product today, it will actually respect all the client times that you've configured as well. So that's really, really good. That's gone into GA right now too. You can actually create marketing material with dynamic content. So maybe you have a promotion that expires at the end of April or Easter, and the customer doesn't actually open that email until after Easter. You can expire that content as well. So auto update with latest content is going to be really, really good. Vanity. So stop looking sus by having these weird URLs inside your marketing emails. We've all received them. Come on. So you can actually just use your own domain, obviously, for all of your vanity URLs, all your deep links and your click-through links, so it doesn't look like you're trying to fish someone out of their password. So that's a nice welcome change, and that went to GA in December. Expiry dates, I think we've sort of touched on that with dynamic content, so I won't cover that. Easily create downstream records. So if someone opens up an email, what do you want to do? I want to actually create an activity record or a note. You can do that without some complex workflow now. You can just do it directly in the marketing app because it's all Power Platform aware. And finally, what's going away with Dynamics? All of the MCP servers that have been created up until this point have now been completely replaced by the Dataverse MCP. There's one MCP server to rule them all. Next was, who remembers the HoloLens by Microsoft? Yeah, that's pretty much dead now. I'm a little bit sad by this because it had a lot of promise. They did the guides and the remote assist, which was supposed to help people on the job using virtual reality. So that's gone, sadly. Yeah, so I don't think it's being replaced by anything. And then finally, the sales reports are now gone. They've been replaced by new Power BI reports. There's something for the, I wouldn't worry about that. And I think that's it. So I think the next major event for the business application stack is going to be in June during build. So catch that online. You can try your luck and get down to States. All right, that's it. No, thank you very much.
Thanks everyone else for coming along. We hope to see you next month when we have Mr. Daniel Brown coming to talk to us about AI, Microsoft 365 Copilot, adoption, return on investments, and so on. And yeah, if you grab that form before, try your luck at winning that conference pass. Hope that we'll see you next month and we'll draw the winner. And yes, we'll catch you all in Melbourne for that one. But yeah, the recording, show notes, slides, if we can share them, they'll be made available on the usual channels. I'll make sure they're added to the Meetup group as well. But yeah, feel free to hang for the next however many minutes. If you are staying on for the Azure user group, you may want to get some fresh air before that starts. But yeah, thanks for coming, and yeah, we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.